Welcome back to the show. Stephanie Lugo, your host here. This episode is a little different. So, KarenAnn is joining me today, and we are just having a real conversation about what we're working on behind the scenes, what's coming up with Market Authority later this year, and just kind of really how we're thinking about the next 6 months. KarenAnn, how's it going?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. This is like one of my favorite things that I do every single time that I come on with you. So thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a while since we've had our little, you and I think of this as our fireside chats. Like, just like real world, having a deep conversation, talking about the behind the scenes stuff that doesn't really make it into the highlight reel. It's been a little while. I'm really glad that we're doing this. We had planned on doing this like quarterly, I think this year. We're not really on pace for that, but we're here. We're ready. We're having the conversation. So how's it going in business?
Much like our fireside chats, we're not quite on pace. Um, this year's been tough over here.
Huh.
I will say it's a really hopeful just because I'm on the East Coast and you're like more on the West Coast. So I know that like I guess historically speaking, a lot of stuff from the West Coast ends up trickling over here, real estate wise. And so I can kind of like watch like your side of things and go like, "Oh, was the market maybe a little slower last year?" Like we had a lot of reports that came out that said that, and I was just over here like, what are you guys talking about? Well, really, I think what was happening is we were a little bit more behind. And
Mhm.
so I feel like over here on the East Coast-ish area, um, I feel like my market's in a little bit of a stalemate right now.
Yeah. Well, and so just for who's listening, if they don't know, you're outside of Athens, you're in Georgia.
Yes. Yes.
Right? How long have you been selling now in Georgia?
Ooh, making me do math on the spot. I think
Mm,
we're right at 8 years. Eight, is that right?
that's crazy.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Right. Bryce and I are we're both husband and wife teams. Bryce and I are in Phoenix. We're going on 11 years.
Mhm.
And Phoenix is always the first market to get hit by any big shifts, right? Phoenix and Vegas tend to be the first and hardest hit, like the first to be hit, the last to recover.
Mhm.
And part of that is because for a long time, Phoenix and Vegas had built up so quickly and so broadly that at least if we're thinking about the last Great Recession in 2008, that just, I mean, it took us almost 10 years to recover from that. It was just catastrophic for Phoenix and Vegas. And I'm saying Phoenix and Vegas because they're very similar. And so I feel like when a lot of the interest rate stuff started happening in 2023, it was like the market hit a wall. And now we're starting to see a lot of change with that because people are like, there, it seems as if they're starting to understand, okay, the interest rate is relative and this is what it is, and it's not going to be changing. And we're also probably not going, I mean, God forbid there's a market crash, but I think everyone's coming to terms that there's not going to be a market crash, which is what
Mhm.
everyone always says. I'll just wait for the market to crash. Is that a
Mhm.
little bit of what you're hearing now? Like, where's your
Yeah, I think,
mindsets?
like I have an ideal client, which I know is like a little bit of a taboo topic in real estate for many different reasons. But my people, I work with a lot of like move up buyers, right? And so they're selling their first or second home that they bought, pre-pandemic.
Hmm.
Some like right in the thick of the pandemic, like before it got really like insane in terms of multiple offers and that sort of thing. And they're like ready to move. They're ready. They've been in their house for 4, 5, 6 years and it's time. And they are just like, hold on, we're gonna pump the brakes though, because I'm used to an interest rate and I'm used to a certain payment. And, like I find myself hearing, or I find myself even saying, is this house really a $500,000? Like in this area, what is this? And so I think there's a lot of people that are coming to terms with the prices, and I think that takes an adjustment period.
Yeah.
Like unfortunately, the economy is not thriving. It's not, I mean, I'm not. like living I'm not living my glory days right now, right? Like
Yeah.
unfortunately, and we're not alone in that. The economy impacts everyone, and I think when you start to put into perspective, well, I like a certain buffer in my lifestyle, like my financial lifestyle choices. And if I purchase another house and put all of the equity that I've built up into that house, I'm not going to have that buffer anymore. And so, is it worth it? And we have lots of conversations like, well, is fighting in a multiple offer situation when the interest rates drop, potentially a half a point? Uh, mm,
Right. I know that's what's crazy is when they're trying to think of different scenarios.
mm,
It's Well, first of all, we don't want any drastic changes. Like drastic changes are not good, whether it's a drastic change in interest rate,
mm.
up or down,
Right,
terrible. If there's
right.
a drastic change in affordability, then that means that we're talking like major unemployment numbers. We're talking major effects to the stock market. So our clients who are getting down payments from their parents, they're not going to want to be selling, like cashing out of their retirement in order to give their kids a down payment if they're at 40% of what their holdings normally are, right? And
Right.
so like we're having these conversations too, and I think what we've really done is, I mean, I knew that this was going to be the year that
Hmm.
this was. I really expected like coming into 2025, and I told you this.
You
I was
did.
like, I think it's going to be a lot like 2024 was. Like, I think it's just going to be another repeat. I think there's going to be very slow decision making. And so we started talking about that very early on with our clients and in our marketing. And we
Hmm.
kind of hit it head on. And I think for us, that's allowed us to have really transparent and trusting conversations. That's been beneficial. Have you
Yeah,
seen the same?
I have. I have. And I just like I have so many of my conversations, start with, I don't want to waste your time because I'm not sure if this decision even makes sense for us. And I'm like, I'm in the same exact position as you. So do not worry about wasting my time. Like I'm in it every day. You are not. So like making sure that you are making the best decision for yourself, for your situation is really important and it's not a waste of my time, right? And so like really validating them and letting them know, like this is a safe place, I think is truly so important. And then knowing that in this slower time, I can work on myself, I can work on my business, and I can like really refine my systems.
Mhm,
And I'm going to need to be ready
mhm,
because there will be a moment where the floodgates open back up in some kind of way where people feel more comfortable
mhm.
in making those decisions. And I will have a lot of people waiting in the wings. And I've been checking in on them. I've been having the hard conversations with them. I've been saying, you know what? I cannot tell you how many people I have said, don't sell.
Yeah.
Hold out. Like, oh, the taxes are high. Maybe I should sell off an acre. No, don't. Hold it if you can. And I think that I'm giving them genuine advice, right? Like it's honestly what I would do based on all the information that I have. But I think that builds even more rapport and even more trust in your relationship with your clients.
So look, like we've been in the business since 2014, 2015. And in Phoenix, the market had not recovered. It would take 6 months to sell a listing.
Mhm.
And people were so slow to make a decision. It feels today a lot like it did back then.
Mhm.
And I think the benefit of starting our business in that market environment, and I think that like what you're describing to me, this is what I'm feeling, is like we're not in it to be fair weather realtors.
Right.
We're going to be in it for the long run. We're going to make sure that we are leading with integrity, putting our clients' needs first, and focusing on like what they're looking to do rather than what we need, meaning a check, right?
Right. Right.
And that helps us focus on the things that we can control. So it sounds like you're tightening up systems. Like what are you working on this year specifically?
I have been like really leaning into a social media strategy that does not cause burnout. That can kind of help with like um consistency and like trust building and really like just opening up the space to document and to like showcase my area,
Mhm.
which has been really fun to go and explore and do. And it's honestly also forced me to like go integrate myself with the market. So really, like I used to do this all the time where I would go like preview homes and then just,
Yeah.
I don't know, you do that a lot when you're first learning and you're first in the industry. You're like, at every caravan and you're like popping by all the open houses and doing all the things. And I've kind of stopped doing that. And so I've been like inching my way back in that world. And it's been really fun to connect with colleagues. It's been very insightful because before I used to just be like, like sucking up information, like I don't know how to run a business. And now it's like, well, hey, how are your open houses? How are they doing?
Yeah.
Oh, no one's coming in right now. Oh, this particular listing sold really well. Why do you think that was?
Mhm.
Or like really quickly comparatively. And so it's been a very interesting dynamic. You can tell who the fair weather agents are.
Mhm.
And so I've been
Mhm.
loving connecting with my local agents that like want to have a conversation and like want to like figure things out from a business perspective versus, like you said, a paycheck perspective.
Mhm. I feel like when things were really busy in 2022, I did not feel very connected to the business.
Yeah.
Like you were in such like urgency, survival mode, just reacting and facilitating whatever was in front of you. And I do feel like the pendulum is always going to swing. Whatever situation you're in, I really believe in like pendulum momentum. And when you go that far one way in the market, it's going to swing all the way back the other way. And it is that really interesting chance to like reconnect. So I feel like that's actually really good advice. So if you're
Hmm.
listening to this and you're like, "Ah, actually, that's really good perspective, how can you find ways to get more connected? How can you, now that you have space, now that you
Hmm.
have time, who are you speaking with? Where are you exploring? What are you documenting? And I think that that's another way that we can almost fall in love, back in love with real estate a little bit, even as we are detaching from the immediate results that we're seeing.
Yeah. And this year has been so reminiscent in many, many ways of my first year in real estate. So falling back in love with like the reason why you got into it. I love saying that because it's really true. Like you I did feel disconnected also from the business when it's like so rapid and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I can't even think straight. And to think like, do I really even like this? Is this really what I wanted for my career? And I've had tons of conversations with other agents that feel that way, but at the end of the day, for me specifically, I truly love helping people and I love being a connector for people and I love just like teaching and
Mhm.
talking and just like that. I don't even know how to describe it, but that's just like who I am as a personality. And so to be able to get back to that and have really honest and transparent conversations, I couldn't tell you how many times I've said, I'm in the exact same position. I'm holding onto my property and I'm waiting.
Mhm.
So validated.
Yeah.
Like everything that you're feeling is valid. And to go, you know what? This has been a tough year in real estate
Mhm.
and just have open and transparent conversations with people and to get support and to get validation back has been really meaningful to me this year.
I like that a lot. One thing that I've been really surprised at is how many of our past clients have circled back and are like actively moving. And we, some of the things that we normally do in our marketing has definitely fallen off this year. Um, And I'm not sure if it's because we are just really leaning into more of the like warmest clientele. Like that just seems to be the pace. When you and I started this year, you and I were both on the same page where we just wanted things to feel a little bit more spacious and more flow.
Mhm.
And I think last year was such, for me personally, the last 2 years prior to 2025 were so incredibly challenging on every front. It was just a really challenging season of life for me. And so this year, going into it, I was like, you know what, 10 years in the business, I want it to feel like I've been 10 years in the business. I want to trust my systems and I want to like release control, even in an uncertain market, and just see what happens. I've been blown away at how that energy and approach has changed our business even this year. And so we've had a ton of listings this year. And they've been selling, which is great, except for one. So send me deal dust. We're like really working on one. And a lot and a lot of our clients are like longtime past clients.
Mhm.
And a lot of I think that what we're seeing in this season of life and in this season of like whatever, we are seeing so many people take a minute and decide, where do I really want to be? Like, where are my roots? Like, are we really ready to like get into that bigger house, or do we want to relocate? I feel like we've had a lot of clients relocating, so they're selling their home to relocate, and then a lot of clients selling their home to buy a new one and actually going through with it. And if you would have asked me in January, like December, January, just like as we're doing our business planning, I would have said like, well, everyone's going to be a fight. Every deal is going to be kind of a fight, right? And plenty of them have. But just by kind of releasing control a little bit, I feel like we have had I feel really lucky to say that we've had a really strong year.
Mhm.
Um, it's not our highest producing year, but it's just felt good. And I really needed a year like that.
Yeah.
So even given like the challenges in the market and there's still days like Bryce was out showing, he showed 14 houses in 24 hours this last week and it was 112 degrees. Like that's really, really hard.
Yeah.
So like there are still those challenging moments and stuff, but I feel like we just kind of accepted that the market is what it is and we're just meeting it where it's at. And
Yeah.
that's been really beneficial to us in terms of our mindset and energy this year.
Yeah. And I would say that I've definitely been leaning into that over the last like 3 months or so. Like I realized
You were not
pretty
like that
quickly.
earlier this year, I feel like.
No, I was like ready to go. And I wanted it to be more spacious, but also like more fruitful. And I was met with like the I was like, the market is here and I am here, and it's like goats just butting
Yeah.
heads. We're like two different goats just butting heads. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening? Why is every transaction like this?
Uh-huh.
And then I just like slowed down and reflected, and I was like, you know what? It's not just hard for me. It is hard for everyone. Um, like I posted something on social media the other day. It was from Mel Robbins, and she said, you know who's going through something hard right now? And the answer was everyone,
Hmm.
right? And so I've been kind of really leaning into that, and that has helped relieve my stress to just know that I am doing everything in my power in my business. And I am also coming off of a really difficult year. I made some decisions, some commitments that just like really didn't work out the way I anticipated them. They were a huge challenge for me. They were a huge mental block for me for honestly, the last year. Like, I finally, in the last 3 months, just feel like I'm kind of freeing that space up. Um, and so I'm really excited to see how I channel this new energy that I have into the remainder of the year.
Yeah. What are you thinking of in terms of the next 6 months? Like what are you planning on? What are you planning around?
Yeah. Well, I haven't had the like mental space to connect with people the way I've really wanted to. Um, just with the state of the world. I'm just gonna leave it at that, okay?
Mm.
Um, and so I have committed to like, doing Pop-Bys just with the intention of like I don't even care if it like helps get my face in front of people. I'm just like, I'm out. Literally, I'm texting people and I'm like, I'm out spreading cheer.
I like that. That's nice.
Well, I'm
Can I
doing it for
show? I
like,
have the Popeye that we were working on. Can I
yeah,
show
I've got
it?
it too right
You got it.
here. Yeah,
Okay.
we
One,
can
two,
compare.
three. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
So we put these, so last year, this is from the Market Authority Summit. So if you're a Market Authority Academy member, you know that last year we put together this huge marketing drop that all the attendees got. And one of the things that we put together was like a Pop-By list for the entire year. And it was like what to buy, the Pop-By tags, like all the Canva designs, everything ready to go. And you were so on it this year. And you showed up and you're like, look at what I put together. And I had completely forgotten that we had it. I was like, oh my God, thank you for reminding that that was a thing. Because our usual Popeye situation, we used to go through like a vendor who had sent, they went through a transition like the business did, and we just like stopped buying our Popeyes through them. And I've been
Mhm.
kind of in a rut, and
Mhm.
this was so much fun. So if you're not watching, Karen
Mhm.
Ann, describe the Popeye for those who did not see on the video.
Okay. Yeah, so if you're not watching, it is a package of Chips Ahoy cookies. And I'm just going to add in a little pro tip here. Um, any grocery delivery that sells Chips Ahoy, this is easy to do. But I just went to the Walmart app and I got as many Chips Ahoy cookie packs as I could, which was a max number of 12 items. So I got 12. So I just thought
Nice.
I'd start small. And so I ordered them for pickup. They were ready in like 2 hours. I just did a little swing by. Didn't have to walk into the store. I just got to sit there, like catch up on my emails while I was waiting for them to come out. And for mine, I have them wrapped in like a twine and some ribbon with a little tag that says Chip Chip Hooray, Happy Independence Day. And I actually saw this idea from the Gifstagram
Yeah.
on Instagram.
At the
Last year.
Giftstagram.
And then I had some leftover. Last year, I sent out these like temporary tattoos. So
So
they're just like
cute.
Independence Day themed tattoos that I picked up on Amazon. And I sent them last year. I've used them this year and I have more for next year. It's so many. And then I have these little party poppers. So it's like a little air confetti um little popper. And
Yeah.
so I just popped that in there as well. And I'm like, you know what? That is literally perfect. I had the ribbon. I printed the tags and I already had the temporary tattoos. I had the poppers just as like leftover gift stuff. And I put these together for like all in probably $6 or $7.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think mine were even less. I think because I got mine from, I was looking at it, I got mine from Amazon. I got 10. And because I made the list and I was like, I can commit to doing 10. It's hot. I
Mhm.
can't be driving around. I can't leave these on porches either.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I posted this and someone was like, not in Texas. And I was like, girl, it is 112. It was actually not to get on the weather, but like I'm from Phoenix, so I get the griping permission. So it was the hottest place on earth in Phoenix this week.
Wow.
I'm
Mm.
not kidding. Like if you took a heat map and you looked at the entire world, it was the hottest place on earth. And I was
Mm.
like, dear Lord. Anyway, so we can't be dropping these off on porches, but I'm
But
just texting my people, hey, you're around, and I'm like handing it off just a couple a day.
yeah.
So that's what we've been doing too. And what I love too about these is like you put together the tags and they can be like chip chip hooray, happy birthday, chip
Yeah.
chip hooray, happy graduation day. So like there's a couple different ways that you could even utilize these. And I wouldn't even feel bad if that was the only Popeye I did all year. Just
No.
flinging cookies.
Well, because seriously, but also you're like if you're doing 10 at a time,
Hmm.
everybody's gonna get a different theme.
Yeah.
Chips Ahoy cookie.
Chip chip hooray, happy closing day,
Yeah.
especially if they've got
Man,
kids. A little snack.
we should get Chips Ahoy to sponsor us at this point.
I know. Shout out to Nabisco. Yeah,
Um,
I think mine were 350, I think, because I got like a smaller package and just
oh, that's smart. And you can do like little individual
oh
packages
yeah.
too. I mean,
Mhm.
you can do whatever your budget allows.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is like take an idea and then riff it. Like riff with it, make it
Yeah.
yours, adjust it. I think one challenge in real estate is so often we feel like something has to look one way.
Yeah.
Like it has to look that way, and we can't think outside the box. And I think that that is a huge drawback to realtors. You have to take a minute, build in a little bit of space to dream up of different ideas of how something can look in your business because it doesn't have to all be the same. And I think that that's something that we talk a lot about in the Market Authority Academy too,
Mhm.
because one thing that I've been saying a lot is like, it's yours, it's
Mhm.
your business. I'm
Hmm.
giving you some ideas, we're giving you some frameworks, we're walking through some like, examples of how this can look, but at the end of the day, it's yours.
Hmm.
And you need to take a minute to actually think about how this needs to fit for you. And I feel like we always have to remind ourselves to go back to that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm like a visionary by nature.
Hmm.
So it's really easy for me to look at something else. I'm a part of a women's like community service and leadership organization. And I went to like the Georgia version. Like we had a Georgia, we all came together, all of our different leagues came together. And they pulled in they had some like really fun speakers and I loved their check-in table. And I even like experienced like one of their like breakout sessions and I was like, we have to do this. Because I came up with this idea and I was like, oh, we can like apply this somewhere else, you know? And that's kind of what made me think that I could do this for a pop by. Um, I have seen people do like little family gatherings, and I'm like, oh, I can apply that to my client appreciation event.
Hmm.
I have seen people, do content, and I'm like, oh, that's a makeup tutorial. You can totally do that in the real estate world. You just like apply your makeup and tell your story, or cook your food and tell your story. Like it doesn't have to be exactly what you see is what you get. You can definitely like you said, make it your own.
But you have to build in space to do that. And I think most people don't build time in to do that. You're either like scrolling for hours on trash social media or you're doing the thing where you're watching like the reality TV, and it's okay to do that. Like you should build in time to do that if you love doing that kind of stuff, but you should also be just as intentional about building in white space into your calendar to like come up with creative ideas in your business.
And like creative work, because it comes so naturally to me, like a lot of the work that I do is just literally processing inside my head here.
Hmm.
So I don't have anything tangible to show for it.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the day, somebody's like, what did you do today? And I'm like, I spent the whole day thinking about how to put together a pop, like how to
Yeah.
put together a pop by, or I spent the entire day thinking about if I have a client appreciation event, it needs to look like this, it needs to be at this time, I can pull this idea from here, and this idea from here, and this idea from here. And still at the end of the day, it's all in my head. And then I can map out a project plan for it.
Hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah. You know what's so funny is I'm not visionary or creative very much. And I've been able to like build those skills a little bit enough to get something done. But I was talking to another agent in Market Authority yesterday, and I was explaining like the difference in our strengths, yours and mine. And I was like, it's funny because KarenAnn is like so great at envisioning different ways and like really creative ways to do things. That's not me. I can't start from scratch. Like I have to have a framework in place and then I can build upon it or like tweak it and stuff. But if you give me an idea, I can take it and I can build it into something that's really cool. So I think that's also really important to like be considering as well, is what comes naturally for you is
Yeah.
is what you need to be leaning into. And then if you get stuck in other places, especially this year where every moment counts and every client needs something different and needs more support and resources than ever. I think
Right.
now is a year where we really want to be leaning on others to fill in the gaps. Like it's really
Yeah.
important to know where your strengths are and where your gaps are so that you can be going out and finding the right resources to fill in those gaps so that you can provide a more well-rounded client experience or build or insulate a stronger business that can weather market shifts like what we're seeing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I have seen in Market Authority, some of our newer members, like I'm thinking of Casey right now. Casey has come in and she has like staked her claim. She's like,
I
this
love
is,
her.
I'm doing this. I am all in.
Hmm.
And like her most recent post in our like private Facebook community has been like her welcome guide. And she put together this like beautiful, amazing welcome guide. And she's like, please look at it. Please let me know what's missing because I've been looking at it for far too long, you know? And I'm just like, this is amazing because like this is the work that we need to be doing
Mhm.
when there's time to be doing it.
Well, you saw Shanada's email too. So Shanada
Yeah.
put in, she put in, shout out to Shanada and Casey. We're
Yeah.
just talking. We're just chit-chatting about the gals. Shanada put in this incredible email newsletter. And like
Yeah.
she's like, hey, I put this together, I put it on Canva, take a look. I was not prepared for opening that file and seeing what she put together. And like in Market Authority, we put together like frameworks and we break down what this stuff should look like. And then we love when agents put their own spin on it. And Shanada had just hired a VA who
Mhm.
helped her really execute on this.
Yeah.
And I was blown away at the depth that she went through to put in like layers of content,
Mhm.
incredible resources. And what was so cool is like we're looking at this and we're like, this is your template framework. Now
Yeah.
that it's built, it's going to take you maybe 20 minutes to swap out the content each month, and you have something lasting that you can use in multiple different formats. I was so pumped. And that's the impactful work that
Yeah.
a market like this affords us to do because we have space and bandwidth to do it.
Right. I agree. I could not agree more. Like I moved actually, one thing that I've done this year is I have moved away from a monthly email newsletter
Okay.
to a weekly email newsletter.
Oh,
I know you were not expecting that turn.
I was
You're like,
not. Okay, tell me more about
time
it. I
to
want to
give
hear
it
about
up.
this.
Well, I just like I have the framework
Yeah.
for how I design the weekly email. I've got themes, I've
Mhm.
got like content ideas. It's beautiful. I just duplicate it every single time. I write it up. I've already written them all for this month because I'm like preparing a little bit for my summer break.
Mhm.
And I am like really starting to see traction from it.
Nice.
So I'm really focused on building an email list on social media. So
Mhm.
I'm generating leads on social media for my email list specifically. And then I'm taking my email list and I'm trying to like funnel them into like, do you want to search for a home? Do you want to have a consult? Do you want to sell, like find out what your home is worth? And so like essentially that is what every single email is,
Yeah.
but it's like relevant to what's going on. And I'm linking back to my Instagram so that they can remember, oh, this is that girl, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I just got an email response yesterday that was like, I love your emails so much. I will be calling you soon.
Oh, you should post that on your stories and have more people opt into your email list.
That's really smart. I should definitely take advantage of that.
Screenshot and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that my new weekly email newsletter is landing with you. You can opt in here. Here's what you can expect.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I will put that together today. Thank you.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I love
Exactly.
I love that you're doing that. You know who else does that really well is Dee.
Mm-hmm.
Dee out of Dallas. She is like primarily referral driven, and she was showing me some of her emails, and they were like fantastic. So, but again, like these are the things that we need to be doing, right? How often are you reaching out? And what are you saying? Are you actually asking for the appointment? Are you actually generating the lead? Are you giving people permission to reach out to you? Because as you said earlier, most people right now are not like, get me inside that house. I need to see that house. People are
Yeah.
like, am I crazy for even thinking that I can sell right now?
Yeah.
And when they're in that space, they don't want to waste your time. So the more content you can put out there that's like demonstrating that you're meeting people where they're at, the more you're going to start to see that momentum. So that doesn't surprise me a bit that that's connecting really well with your people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And like it's been really interesting moving away from the like building perspective of your
Mhm.
business into like the maintaining. And I still want to grow. So because I want to grow, I was like, well, I was really burnt out. Pandemic time was burnout time, right? Because we were all just going like 90 miles an hour. And so I built, and then it was like pandemic. And then I came out of that and I was just like, what now?
Yeah.
Refine. So I've been really focusing on refining, and I am so surprised at how much I can get done in the little amount of time that I have because I have the framework for the email newsletter. I know exactly how I'm going to write it. I know what lands. I know what buttons people are clicking now because I've done it so much that I can just like regurgitate it week over week. It feels fresh. Um, and it's something that I can just like easily adapt. And so like the same can be said for the Pop-Bys. I haven't done them. This is the first time I've done them this year, and I'm like kicking myself for not doing them earlier this year because it took so little time for me to put them together because I am not reinventing the wheel. I know what to do, like buy all the stuff, then spend 30 minutes literally putting them together. You know, when I discovered that I didn't have to do 50 Pop-Bys in a week and like make it like, you know, like death week.
Hmm.
That's what we call it around here, death week.
Hmm.
I could just do like 10 to 12. I was like, oh, this is game changing. This is incredible. Get all the stuff, have it shipped to you, put it together, deliver it. And I've just been doing like two a day.
Yeah. I will never forget in 2020, it was like in the summer, and we put Grady, who is our infant son, like our newborn son, we put him in the car and we drove all around town over an entire weekend in the hottest summer on record at that time and delivered like 4th of July Pop-Bys at that. And it was like literally like 50 plus households. And I was at that moment, I was like, I'm never doing this again. But that's the point. Like, not everybody has the budget to do that many. Not everybody has that many people in general in their network to reach out to. Do what works for you.
Right.
It's yours.
Yeah.
It's yours.
True. It's so true. It's so true. And I've been like kicking myself too because I'm going on vacation next week.
Uh-huh.
And I decided this is the week that I needed to do the Pop-Bys. And I
Because why
knew
not?
this. So like I planned this like 6 weeks ago that I was going to do these Pop-Bys. So I've been like slowly gathering all the stuff. And then I was like, what in the world was I thinking
Hmm.
when I had to put these Pop-Bys together and deliver them? But thankfully, I'm busy enough with other things like having to like go to Costco to get all the stuff for vacation,
Yeah.
like all the shopping that is entailed with prepping for a vacation. And I'm like, "Oh, you're near Costco. I'm gonna drop these off with you. Oh,
Yeah.
you're near, book club."
Well, and then you're posting it too. So like I saw this really cute picture where you posted it and you left it on someone's porch, and then their porch was like beautifully decorated with some really cute seasonal decor. So like you're also documenting and creating content on what you're doing at the same time, and like it's two birds.
Right, right. And it felt so easy. I mean, on Monday when I started this, I went out and I like had a huge day and I was so worried about the big day that I had planned. I like met with someone in person. I got my hair cut. I did the Pop-Bys. I was running everywhere. And at the end of the day, I was like, oh no, because I'm trying to wind down for, like vacation mode. So I'm like, oh no, what am I going to post today? And then I was like, you know what? I decided at like 10 a.m., I was like, I'm posting a day in the life and I am going to document every single thing that I do today. And
Hmm.
that post has received so much more than like anything that I try hard for.
Was it an actual post on your feed?
Yeah, it was a carousel post.
Oh, I only saw the stories. I'll have to go look at the carousel post.
Oh yeah,
No.
it was like really simple. Let's see, I can pull it up really quick. So I just took pictures everywhere I went. So breakfast meetup with a colleague, what we talked about, made time for a haircut. It had been 2 years. Oh my gosh. So I took a picture outside of the salon. I
Uh-huh.
took a picture in my car after I got done with the salon, proof that I do practice self-care.
So
And then
cute.
I had my little Pop-By sitting on my seat. So I just snapped a picture of my seat. Like you said, the really cute door. Like thankfully someone like went all out on their
Yeah,
decor.
it's
Um,
really cute.
and then I also had to run over to a listing and like I just put an extra sign in the yard to try to like generate a little bit more business for like people that are driving by.
But this
Like,
is the thing, like it's on the fly, it's off the cuff. It doesn't have to be like crazy orchestrated. I think people just want something that's fresh and raw, and
yeah,
we're just cool with that.
yeah. Well, and no filters too, right? Like
No
I stopped using
filters.
filters years ago. Sometimes I use them. It just depends.
Every now and then I like a good
Every
little
now and then
Lightroom one-click preset,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. You just need like a little something, something.
So,
But,
listen.
But like overall, I have received more engagement on
Hmm.
that post than pretty much anything else I've posted in the last 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked about going on vacation. What are you doing to prep leaving? Because I feel like that's always a hot topic.
Oh yeah. So I wrote all of my emails for the next 3 weeks
Love it.
and scheduled them. I spent time doing that on Monday before I went and did all the things. I was like, oh, it's time.
Hmm.
Because I like to write my emails on Mondays and then they go out on Tuesday. I like to try to be a week ahead, but I wasn't this time. So then I was like, oh, well, I'm going to need one for next week. And then I'm going to be tired and need a vacation from my vacation. So I'll need one for that week too. And
Hmm.
while I have the energy, I'll just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So I have 3 weeks of emails scheduled out, which feels really good. It did not take long to do because I already had the template.
Hmm.
I'm doing the Pop-Bys this week, so I'm having lots of good, strong conversations before I kind of take some time off. I'm really still working on my 10 by 10 by 5 on social media and just engaging with people there so that they'll see all the fun stuff that I post. I've been talking a lot about going out of town to people and how I still have boots on the ground. I will still have my computer just in case something is like urgent. And then like, like the normal stuff, like cleaning the house and
Yeah.
not shop. You gotta shop because you have to eat this week, but then you don't want to shop because you're gonna be gone the next week.
Yep.
So we played that little game. But like it's once again, we have like just such a system down in our business. We're sending postcards this week too. So we're doing pop buys. So my husband is printing all of the postcards to go out on Saturday. We're gonna mail them on Saturday so they
Hmm.
hit everyone's inbox next week so that if I get any calls, it will be like the week when we come back. So it's just
Nice.
like really kind of strategic moves, I think. I'm hopeful.
You're really good at planning that stuff in advance. I do that a lot too, but one of the things that I do is I get an idea and then I execute immediately. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I find that I don't think that far in advance for how much planning I do and how much strategy I like to think that I do.
Mhm.
Sometimes when I get the idea, it's like, oh, Popeyes, do it right away. Like get it done. And
Yeah.
and I feel like that's a strength, but it's also like if I were to build in even more time,
Mhm.
you get the benefit of like thinking about like that trickle effect, I think is really important.
Yeah. And that I think has been a game changer for me this year.
Yeah.
Just every single facet. I have spent more time in meetings with myself
Yeah. I don't know
of
why more people don't do that.
I mean, it sort of feels at first it feels silly. I
Yeah.
I will be honest. It's like do I really need a meeting with myself? I'll figure it out. But I spend more time reflecting on what worked, what didn't work, what do I need to drop? Okay, like I literally have an iCloud note that is a meeting format that is what are the wins from last week?
Mhm.
These are your three main pillars for your lead gen. So what are you doing this week for those things? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Because I like rotate through them. And then it is who needs communication, who needs active follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay, what client work do we need to prepare for this week? And then I mean, I am having a meeting with myself, but I'm also having a meeting with my husband, who just so happens to be my business partner. But
Mhm.
I'm going to talk to you guys about what I'm having as like sometimes we treat our marriage like a business, which
Mhm.
I think could be helpful. So it's like, how are the finances? How are things doing? Like, how's the burn rate? Do we have the capacity to go on vacation? What do we have prepping? And then it's our kids are home for the summer. I did not sign them up for summer camp. You talked to me about this the other day, how I never expect it to like be as bad as it is, but it is. Um, and so it's like, well, what are we gonna do this week? My kids are kind of old enough to like stay
Mhm.
home alone for like 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
like, can we go on a walk? Can we go on a walk in the neighborhood by ourselves? Or can we go play pickleball down the street? Like what are we going to do to get away and like escape? And then my husband is so introverted that and I get like super overstimulated by the kids. So it's like,
Mhm.
what are we gonna do separately that just like gives us a little bit of peace? And we're literally mapping this out. and
Yeah.
we're putting it in the calendar. And then we're like meal planning. And I bring my kids in for this. My kids are old enough.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys can help. These are life skills you
Oh my
need.
God, if I have to make another decision about planning dinners, I swear I can't wait for my kids to be that age.
Yeah.
I am, because I do the cooking, I take cooking really seriously. And I
Mhm.
love cooking, but I'm learning to absolutely hate it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, like you have this huge long day and Bryce is usually still on the phone with clients who are getting off and we've made that decision. Like that's okay. We've allotted for that time.
Right.
He's usually like trying to send offers or talking to clients or whatever. So I'm the one cooking. And
Hmm.
luckily he's got the kids while he's doing that because our clients don't care if they hear the kids in the background and they can deal with
Right.
it,
Right.
honestly, because they know who they're getting.
Right.
Um, and it's like the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't plan at least 4 dinners a week, it ruins our entire week. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do the same thing, except for on Sundays, we get together as a family and we have a family meeting.
Hmm.
And we talk about, and I make my children, my kids, for anyone listening that doesn't know, I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. So we're like a little bit of like responsibility age,
Hmm.
right? And so I'm like, bring your weekly school agenda to me.
Hmm.
Have your practices in there, have your after school activities in there, have your test days in there, have your picture days in there. We need to know what's going on
Yeah.
in your lives, and I want you to bring that to us so that we can all plan and prepare,
Yeah.
right? And so like
Do you
Mhm.
remember the agendas? Like, I don't know if theirs are the same. Do you remember the
They're the
ones that you
same.
used to get in school? And you
They're the
remember like how they'd have like the holographic like cover and the sound it would make if you scratch it?
they're the same.
Ah, that just gives me so much nostalgia. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they're the same. But weirdly, my elementary school child gets an agenda and the middle school child doesn't.
Oh, that's insane. That's insanity.
That is stupid spending, but
Yeah.
we can't start talking about
No,
that.
no.
But I have been
Sorry.
teaching my middle schooler really how to use it. So like they
Yeah.
do basic things, like they have to write in like their connections
Mhm.
every day of the week that that's what they're teaching them. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You need to write down like the important events. You need to write
Yeah.
down what homework you have. You need to write down your tests. And so we spent time like a week or two before school started last year, and I'm going to do it
Mhm.
again. It's like a refresher this year. Figuring out how to write in an agenda and keep track of everything that we're doing. And we have a lot of big, like, we come back from vacation and it is going to be insanity in our personal lives, which is fine. Like, we sat down together as a family and said, you know what? You want to do football? You want to do marching band?
Mhm.
Okay. This is what is expected of us. We have to have our Sunday meeting. We have to make easy meals. We have to do some meal prepping, and you guys are going to help
Mhm.
because it's not our responsibility to make sure that you can do all of your things and we have to juggle everything plus our own business. You guys have to kind of help step up to the plate. So you're going to have to help with a little bit of meal prep, which they actually love to do. I've always had them in the kitchen with us.
Yeah.
So,
Same.
yeah,
Yeah. I love
it's
that.
life skills. It's life skills.
I can't wait for my kids. I mean, I don't want to wish away what I have now. I have a
Yeah.
5 and a 2.5 year old.
Hmm.
5 year old's going to kindergarten this year. And it's
Hmm.
just like, oh my God, I've cried so many times this summer
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's the last little kid's summer. You
Yeah.
know, it's the last time before he's in kindergarten. It's the last little kid. And so like one thing I was telling you that I really, really messed up on in my reflections last year was well, Grady started school in preschool. So like he was in the threes class and it's on the same campus at an elementary school. I feel like I hit the jackpot that he's like all in the same place. So preschool in threes, pre-K last year, kindergarten this year. So this is our third year of him going to the same school, but like it hits different with kindergarten. And last year, what I really messed up on was I didn't build in that intentional time before the school year, right? Like I didn't build in that special mom and dad date with him to go take him back to school shopping. So like
Hmm.
I'm scheduling that in. Like we're going to protect that time. I didn't build in enough like just like mom and Grady outings and stuff. So like we're coming up with like different ways that we're going to do that. And it is so important to like detach a little bit from your day to day, to look ahead and plan and think like how do we want this next season to feel? and then allow the systems in your home life and in business to support that. Because
Exactly.
it doesn't matter where you're at in production. It doesn't matter how busy business is. It doesn't matter how busy life is. You can still make sure to structure it in a way to where you're left feeling the way that you want to feel, even if it is a super busy season. And I think that's really important to do in life.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I have really been leaning in on my systems that I've created in personal and in business,
Yeah.
and I am doing more now than I have ever done. And like, I'm not going to say that it's easy because, like, it's a lot, but it's easy.
Well, the
Like,
capacity changes.
yeah,
The capacity that we have to get done increases. And it's not just the system. Because you have to, like, year one is like building the system. Year two is learning the system and building the habits. Year three of having this in place, like something just really starts to click and change.
yeah.
Which I feel like is where you're at right now, because I feel like you've been on this journey of really building and refining. And
Mhm.
this was the year that you and I were both like, now we can kind of like rest, not detach,
No.
not skate by, but
Mhm.
like let our systems do a little bit more of the heavy lifting and not white knuckle quite so much.
Right. Right. And honestly, like, it's freeing. It is like mentally freeing.
Yeah.
It's freeing to be able to just like walk away from the computer and like go on a walk
Yeah.
or
I personally have not had that much time in years as I've had this year. I can't believe it, like that I've been able to do that kind of stuff.
right. And the progress that we're making is also substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the summit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Back to time management. To segue, one of our favorite time management hacks is an in-service day. And Karen Ann, you and I just finished our market authority in-service day.
Mhm.
And so what that means is every 7 weeks-ish, we had to move it this last time, but whatever, like we put it on the calendar. If we need to move it last minute, we move it. Every 7 weeks, we have an in-service day where we have like half a day of just like business planning or getting like focus work and projects done. And so today, we spent some time dialing in the summit. This is the Market Authority annual like summit, annual mastermind, whatever you want to call it. That is happening here in Phoenix. It's our third annual event. It's happening in September. I'm so excited. I feel like it could not come at a better time either.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't you drum roll reveal this year's theme?
Okay, this year's theme is confidence and clarity, which I feel like that's always kind of the undercurrent of this event. And last year we brought in my personal mindset and success coach, Camille Rose Taylor. She
Mhm.
is world class, and she works with some of the most incredible leaders in the world. And we brought her in, and she did a full day session during our 2 day summit and just
Mhm.
went so deep with us on mindset and like dismantling the subtle enemies of success. And still today, like so many agents come to me saying like it was the defining moment of the year and it was like a fork in the road moment for their business. And so that was
Yeah, I'm
really,
like, I have chills just thinking about it. Like, it was so good. Shout
oh,
out to Camille.
I shout out
She
Camille.
was
We love
incredible.
Camille.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I've been stressing. I told you for like 6 months. I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do for this summit because it was so transformative last year. Like, how do we meet that moment
Yeah.
again? How do I do that again? Right. And I was really struggling with it. And we took you and I spent a lot of time talking to a lot of like attendees and a lot of different members in the coaching program. And what we've kind of put together, I think, is going to be, dude, it's going to be rad. I went after our in-service day this morning. I went out into the living room and I was like, Bryce, you'll never believe. I was like talking about him and he's like, okay, this is great. Like it sounds so good. Camille, back in 2020, 2021, Camille recommended to me, she said, Stephanie, you really need to understand your strengths, right? And I said, disc assessment, like Strengths Finder, Clifton, done all those. She's like, no, 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 no. Those are like personality driven tests. But what you need to understand is how you instinctually take action when you have all the time and space in the world, because now as a business owner, you do have all the time and space in the world. And since I was in a building phase of like building systems at that time during those years, she really recommended to me to understand how best to build those systems around it. And so she recommended the Kolbe A assessment. And so what we did was we chose Kolbe from that lesson I learned years ago. We chose Kolbe to be like the main character moment of the summer summit. So what we're going to do is all these summit attendees, and we're capping it at 50 attendees for this reason. All of the attendees are going to be able to take the Colby A test. So we're going to send it to them prior to the event. It's included with their ticket. And then we're going to have a professional consultant from Colby come in and lead a workshop that's going to help us understand how we are going to really walk away with that knowledge to run our business differently. And
Mhm.
you've taken the test because before I hired you on for market authority years ago, I wanted to understand like how to best place you in the role and give you the resources you needed to be successful. And you and I
Mhm.
were looking at it this last week and we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is going
Mhm.
to be so great." I mean, can you share? I know I'm gushing now because I'm excited. Share a little of your mindset on like how that's helpful for you and what you're hoping that we can do during the summit with that information.
Okay, I certainly can because you are gushing about it. So one of the things that like I was a little skeptical of this thing. Like, okay, sure, you want this, fine. And I took the test and I never really looked at it or like looked at like I looked at it, but I was like, okay, I don't really know what this does for me, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. And then you were so excited about it earlier this week or last week. And I was like, all right, well, let me just pull mine back up. So I log in and I pull mine back up and I'm like reading it after watching you go through yours. And I'm like, oh, actually, that's pretty accurate on, on who you are,
Uh-huh.
Stephanie.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I pull it up and you're like, just go review it and let me know what aha moments you have later. And I was like, okay. So I go downstairs and I'm like, Curtis, listen to this. This is just like me. This tells me what I should do. This tells me what I shouldn't do. This tells me what I'm good at. And like one thing that I know about me is I'm not mechanical at all. Like I cannot fix anything. I don't understand, like, I just don't understand how things work, and I don't care to figure it out either. Like, it just is like way beyond my scope,
Yeah.
truly. And one of the things it said was like, do not operate on small appliances. And well, I know that.
But that's important. So like for me as a
Yeah.
leader, if I were to hire you as somebody who needs to like put together different things, right? Like that tells me like, oh, Karen Ann is not going to thrive in that position. And there's going to be a lot of friction. And it's the same thing if we try to build systems. So I was talking to another agent and I recommended this to them and I was like, listen, you really want to make sure that you're like looking at this because this agent was saying, I really care about time blocks and I want to have time blocks in place. And it's just eating me alive that I can't stick to time blocks and managing my time in the way that I feel like I should be doing in order to get ahead. And I was like, well, you might not be designed that way. Who
Mhm.
cares how good your time blocks are if you can never stick to it, not out of a lack of discipline, but because you don't instinctually operate that way. That's not how you take action. And it was this aha moment to me where so many agents are fed this generic, like broad brush advice on what their day-to-day needs to look like or what they need to be doing to be successful. And then what happens is like 85% of agents flunk out of the industry basically within 2 to 5 years
Yeah.
because they can't figure out how to make frameworks that actually help prop them up and be successful with all the time that you have when you do become a full-time real estate agent.
Yeah.
And so that's my vision with this. Like it's really going to help us help agents, and I'm excited too. Because I'm
Mhm.
like looking at that Colby consultant who's going to come in. They're going to change my world. I know it.
Mhm.
But it's going to be really be that like full reset on how to market, how to plan, how to delegate, and just how to lead.
Yeah. Yeah. And like honestly, it's really insightful on how you particularly operate. I
Mhm.
was talking to a market authority member earlier in the week about Asana. And she was like, Asana's going to change my life. I see you guys talk about it. I see how you use it. I think it's great. I'm a visual person. I need to see exactly how you, Karen Ann, use it. And I was
Mhm.
like, I will show you how I use it. But I need to give you some context here first. First and foremost, I am a visionary person. So
Mhm.
I need to see the entire picture before I can like really understand how something works. Once I understand how it works, then I do this and this and this and this, and I'm really good at explaining things. So, and I honestly was able to give her this context because I had just gone through my Colby A results again,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, and so if I'm getting ahead of myself or I'm getting ahead of you, or you're like, hold on, stop a second, ask me questions, I need you to understand that you can just back me up and
Mhm.
ask me specific questions. I'm going to give you a good overview. I'm going to try to keep it simple. I'm going to show you exactly what I do, but you might understand that you operate a little bit differently than me.
Mhm.
And I think that gave her like some freedom to be like, oh, I can do it my way. It's my business. Just like you've been saying the whole time.
Yes.
No.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that this is going to be a game changer. And it's just one part of the summit too. So like if you're listening to this and you're in the Market Authority family, if you've already bought your ticket, you're good. We're going to send you the assessment. It's included with that already. So don't go running out thinking you need to buy it because we're already going to wrap that up in with your ticket. And if you're listening to this and you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you need to make sure that you're reserving it because like it's happening. And
Yeah.
it's hard capped at a certain number of seats. And we've already seen a real good number of agents jumping in. So I'm really excited about it. We also have I think one of the biggest feedback points that we got last year was like the need for like deeper connection, the breakout sessions, the like supporting each other, which I am really excited to say that we have intentionally built in a ton of time for that.
Yeah.
So I think that agents are going to leave feeling more like supported, that incredibly warm culture that Market Authority is known for. I mean, that's something that we have mastered as a gold standard in this industry, I think, among other things. Um, I just think the world of what we do, of course. And I think that they're going to leave with that sense of feeling like, okay, I can take on whatever's coming because I have the people, I have the community, I have the resources, and I have the knowledge to make it happen.
Absolutely. And if you're not a Market Authority member and you're listening to this, and you're like, well, hold on a second, what is this? And can I come if I'm not a member? This is an exclusive summit for Market Authority members. If that's something that you've been thinking about, after, watching Stephanie on YouTube or, going to like any of her free trainings, if that's something that you're thinking about, definitely, book a call to like discuss if it would even be a good fit because this is exclusive to Market Authority members. It is just a different approach. It is a different approach to coaching. I have invested in a lot of coaching in my career. And even this year, I purchased a huge coaching program. And I am like every single week so disappointed because I know what the impact that Market Authority makes and the attention to detail and the actual tangible results that can come out of it. And so, if that's something that you are looking for because you are feeling like you need to get more organized or you need to get your systems in place, um, that's a conversation that you need to have with us.
Yeah. The way that works is you can book a call with me and you are speaking with me. So if you don't show up to the meeting and you no show me, I'm gonna come find you. Just kidding. But you are booking with me. And so what we start with, because it's really important for me to understand like where you are in your business, right? And we've always had that approach. So I want to understand what's going on, what ideas are you kind of working through, what are you chewing on? What challenges are holding you back? And then from there, I can tell you definitively, like, yeah, this we're gonna knock this out together. And I don't take anyone into the Market Authority that I can't for certain say you are the perfect fit and you are almost practically guaranteed to see the results as long as you follow the process. Because it's
Mhm.
yours. You got to do the work. You got to follow the process. You got to show up. But that's a huge commitment that we make because I would just die if if that was like the takeaway that people were having from the program where they're like, ah, it didn't really fit me, it didn't suit, it was a different one. That is not what we're trying to do at all. So That is a great reminder. You can always book a call with us. The link is in the caption of wherever you're listening to this or wherever you're watching, whether you're on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast provider. I have some bonus ending questions to wrap
Okay.
up. Okay. What is one thing, Karen Ann, that you want to feel more of in the fall?
For me, it is connection. I have a big fall. I just know with my kids after school activities. So I want to make sure I have good connection with my family. I want to have good connection with my local community. I want to have good connection with my clients. So that is something that I'm really leaning into is just like having a village.
Mm, I love that.
Yeah. What about you?
I really want to be present through Grady's kindergarten year.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing that I'm really happy about is like the summit is happening a lot earlier in the season this year than it did last year. And I feel like after that, I'm going to be really able to be present during the school year, present during class parties, present during fall break, and like I think I just want to be very present and in the room, if that makes sense. And I haven't had that feeling for the last couple of years, and I'm finally there. Like I feel like I'm in the room when I haven't been, and so that's something that I'm really craving.
Oh, I love that for you. I think that's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. What is something that you're choosing to let go of for the rest of 2025?
Well, my Colby A assessment told me that I should stop overcommitting. So I'm really going to let go of like things that are not serving me
Mhm.
and commitments that are not serving me. And I have a big project to clean out my house. So I'm going to be letting go of all the things in
Mm,
my house that are just like bogging me down.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's not like a definitive, like, I'm sure you've got some like radical answer that I can't wait to hear. But I think for me, I'm just going to be letting go of everything that's not serving me.
hmm I think I'm actually in the same boat. So we have our break coming up. We take like a 2 week break every July. One
Mhm.
week of that, we're going on vacation, and the other week, I'm going to get my dang house in order.
I love
I
that.
have like a theme. I've already planned it out. I have already sent the agenda to the entire family household. Everyone knows what's happening. I have one room assigned for each day, and everyone knows what their tasks are. And we're going to clean out because I mean, we've lived in this home for 3 years now. So we're real settled in, and we've outgrown a lot of the baby stuff. My younger is going to be 3, so like we can really do like a good purge on the toys and get some of the baby stuff out and be done with that because we are not adding to the brood. Um, I mean, to my knowledge, I guess unless anything happens, but like we're not adding anything, and I'm ready to like turn the house over into the next phase of life of having somewhat older children
Yeah.
and letting our space reflect that. And I think
Yeah.
if I do that, I'm going to have a lot more space in work because I'm not going to be walking through like, oh, that hot spot on the kitchen island where everything falls to, walking through like, oh, those toys that I still need to get through and purge and donate into the home
Mhm.
office where I have a lot of stuff that I still haven't put away in here. If I can get all that, I feel like I'm going to have so much more space.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Oh, I'm ready for that. I'm not doing mine in a week. But we've lived in our house for the same amount of time. And my husband was like, will you promise me that on Fridays we will please clean out this house? And I was like, yes,
I
we
like
will.
that.
Yeah.
A little bit of a hot spot every Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we're gonna do. And
Yeah.
hopefully by the end of the year, it'll be done.
I think that's an awesome plan. I think
Yeah.
that's great.
And organize along the way. So not only purge, but like
Yeah.
everything just like, we have to hook things up in the basement and like
Right.
all the things. So, yeah.
Yeah, those final setups, maybe like hang that picture you've been meaning to hang or whatever. Like that's
Exactly.
my case. I'm terrible at
Yeah.
hanging stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, last one. One
Okay.
tool or habit that's helping you stay grounded right now.
I am keeping myself busy enough to not be on my phone.
Ooh, okay. I like it.
And I don't know how I'm doing that, but it's really good for my mental health. Like I'm in this really funny place with social media because like I understand that I need it for my business, but like I don't need the doom scrolling that comes with it, you
Mhm.
know? I really don't. It's not good for my mental health, but I've like found that I'm keeping myself busy with like fun things, like playing with the kids, doing the Pop-Bys, going to book club. Like I'm involved in like a couple of different boards and spending my free time doing that versus doom scrolling has been really life-giving the past like 3 months or so.
I like that for you. I need to do a little bit more of that. For me, it's been I can't really say that now, but I've been doing walks. It's a little
Mhm.
too hot to go on walks right now, but I'm actually planning on starting to do my walks like early morning. If
Mhm.
I'm out any later than 7 or 8 a.m., it's too hot. Like it was 94 degrees at 7 a.m. this morning. Like it's just I cannot handle that heat. I'm not meant to live in the desert. But
Mhm.
so we're here anyway. So I'm planning on continuing my walks. I've been doing like multiple walks a day, which I have really I have a lot of anxiety. And
Mhm.
I think that part of it is just my body needing more movement.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I've been doing a lot of that, a lot of outdoorsy stuff. I did my big hike this year. Like my big goal was to do this big hike. It was like a 12-mile hike, and it was the highest mountain in Arizona, and I did it. And I was so proud of myself, but it took 6 months of being outside and walking and hiking and moving. And so I really want to continue that. But what I'm doing during that time, which you and I talk about, is I am scrolling, but I'm like intentionally scrolling and coming up with like content ideas. Or I'm like recording a video while I'm walking and then posting it. So I feel like I've gotten really good at taking that movement and then making sure to habit stack with other things that I have to be doing for business. And that's been
Mhm.
really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I love a good audiobook.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. I pretty much exclusively listen, or podcast, like something to just like, or you know what? Like you can walk in peace.
Yeah, I can't. I have been doing a lot of audiobooks too, and I'm actually reading a paperback right now that I'm just obsessed with. It's
Mm.
The Song of Achilles. Have you seen that one?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
What an indulgent read. Like the
Hmm.
prose of the writing is incredible.
Yeah.
Like that's been a
That
really
is
good.
very much a you book.
Oh, did you read it?
I DNF'd it.
You did.
Don't come for me.
That's not a you book at all. That is a
I
me
know.
book. I've got a couple of paperbacks and I'm loving. I've really gotten back into reading this year. I agree. That has been that's been a joy.
Yeah, like that is another, just like doing something for you,
Mhm.
whatever that is, I think is really important. So,
Agreed.
yeah,
Karen Ann, what a fireside chat this was.
I know we should do it more often.
Yeah, we should. I feel like this is a great time to kind of reconnect, and I hope that if you're still listening to this, I appreciate you listening to the end. I hope that you found something during this conversation that speaks to you, and I hope that in this conversation you feel a couple of friends side by side sitting with you because that's really what I want this to be. And Karen Ann, I always feel a friend sitting by my side, and you as well. So thank you so much for hopping on with me for this wide-ranging conversation on the Market Authority Show.
Of course, anytime. Just have me back all the time.
Okay, if you're listening to this, share this with someone who needs to hear it and make sure you follow me on Instagram at Bryce and Stefanie and KarenAnn is also on there. We'll have the links to everything that we talked about today in the caption. And until next time, my friends, keep on crushing it.
Bye.
Bye.